thank all of you for coming on to our call. Today, we have 2 more weeks left in the month. I want to remind everybody we have of our specials going on. We have the 21-day fix on sale for $140, $180 for the Kickstart. Actually, they're all the same price. So 21-day fix, 21-day fix extreme, and size are all on sale this month. So make sure that you all are promoting it, especially, and also the Kickstart. Again, what I do is I send that video, that promotional video that explains the refresh at the end. And a lot of people have opted for the refresh because I send them that specific video. And then also, one thing in mind is if you're for size this month, what they didn't do last time they sold the size challenge pack, they are selling it with the containers this month. So that's definitely a nice little added promotion for those who are ordering size. The next thing is that on Thursday, we're having another coach sneak peek on Thursday. So at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure that you have that in your calendar and that you are speaking to people throughout the week for that if you are going to be joining that. I know some other people may be doing smaller groups, but either way, we will have that group running on Thursday. So today, what we wanted to talk to you about, Luke and I, we wanted to talk to you a little bit. A lot of you saw that question I asked you on the team page about being an entrepreneur versus being a challenger, and kind of where your mindset is and kind of where you think you are at this time. And so let me go ahead and share. Let's see. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Where's this? And then I want to share my screen. Can you guys all see my screen? Okay, awesome. And then, do you still see just the PowerPoint? Or do you see my notes? Do you see anything? Hold on. Let me see. I'm going to ask Amy because she's who I see. What do you see, Amy?
I see your PowerPoint, not your notes.
Okay, perfect. Good. That's what I want you to see. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, awesome. I'm going to mute you. Hold on. Let me mute you. Okay. I think I'm trying to mute. Okay, there we go. All right, guys. So Entrepreneur Mindset is basically what we're going to be talking to you about today, Luke and I. And so I asked you this question because when it comes to mindset, your mindset really shows in everything that you do, and whether you think so or not. And I know that for me, it shows through in how you run your life. It shows through in the opinions that you allow into your life. It shows through in your posting. It shows through in how successful you are in this business. It shows through in terms of how consistent you are in this business. And so I want you to keep in mind that your mindset will show through everything. And, I thought it was really interesting because I did put that question out to the team, really trying to get a collective sense of what everyone was going to say. And a lot of people did say entrepreneur, which is awesome. But one thing, I need you to understand, just like in anything else in life, is that you can say one thing, but you may be acting differently. And at the end of the day, your actions are going to speak louder than your words. Your actions are going to take precedence over anything else that you say. And so one thing that I need you to do is I need you to be very honest with yourself and be honest with what you want out of this business. And one thing is making sure that your daily actions that you do every single day line up with the priorities that you have in life. And so if this business is a priority for you, I need you to kind of, and this is an exercise I did, I remember way back when I first started as a coach and I first started running team calls, I had an exercise with the team where I had everybody write down their schedule in a day or in 2 days, and I had them write it down so that they can get an idea of what they were doing and then to compare it to their priority list. And then to look at the list side by side and really look to see if what you were doing in your day matched your priorities. And it was an eye-opener for a lot of coaches And so I challenge you to do the same thing with your life, to really make that list of your daily activities and compare it with your priorities. Because especially women tend to do, they tend to take on a lot more, and they tend to have a problem saying no to other people. And they really are, you guys are selfless. A lot of women are selfless, and they will do for others more than what they will do for themselves, and will put the responsibility and will put things for other people before themselves. So really being honest with yourself. And the reason why, I'm asking you this is because as I'm kind of thinking ahead, over these last couple weeks of the new year, knowing that we all need to be doing our best, knowing that we, especially if we want to end the year strong and we want 2016 to be our best year yet, recognizing that there's no I in team. And one thing I really want you all to ask yourself is, have you been a team player, or have you been doing this solo? Have you been, really trying to make this business work on your own and not plugging in to the team? And the reason why I'm asking you this is because a lot of coaches, and Luke has seen this with his one-on-ones, a lot of coaches will suffer in silence. And I know a lot of my leaders have seen this with their downline. We're not mind readers. We don't know. We have no idea if you're struggling. We have no idea what if you're coming, if obstacles are in your way, or if you're struggling with one thing or another. And if you don't come to us and tell us, there's no way for us to know. And so I picked this quote out, alone we can do so little, and together we can do so much, because I really need you guys to kind of get into the idea that we are a team. This isn't like Stephanie's success, or Ashley's success, or Sophie's success, or Catherine's success, or Jessica's success. This is our success. We are a team. And if we want the team to be successful, all of us have to be successful. And so I just really want you to kind of really ask yourself if you have been asking for support, if you have been participating in team activities. All of you are on this call, and that's great. Continuing to come onto these calls and being part of the team, because you really, really are not alone. We really put in a lot of effort into being there for you and offering you that support. And it doesn't only have to just be your direct upline. It doesn't have to be your sponsor. If you feel like you're not getting good support from your sponsor, you can reach up above them. It's okay. No one's going to take anything personally, but make sure that you are reaching out and getting help if you are seeking that help. And so, really kind of looking, realizing that the strength of the team is each individual member, and really looking at these last final weeks and really pushing ourselves to give our all, not just me, not just Luke, not just Tony, not just Catherine, really putting our best into everything, and to end this year as strong as possible as we can, because, just so that these last few weeks, we end them strong, and then in 2016, we start that with a bang, and next year will be, all of you guys, it will be better than this year, than how it has been, but the work starts now, and it starts now with your consistency. And so, when I think about winners versus losers, and this is, I don't know if some of you guys have heard, got to hear the Darren Hardy call. I'll post it in the team page so that you guys can listen to it for the Success Club. But winners versus losers. And, the difference between the two is usually very small. And a small amount of extra effort really goes a long way. And think about, a sport, think about like the Olympics. Think about the people who win first and second place. Usually it's, a tenth of a second. It's very small little differences, between the two, but yet that difference makes such a huge impact in terms of how that person is perceived. And so, winners, they say, kind of looking at this picture that I picked out, winners, they say it may be difficult, but it's possible. They see the gain. Do you see the potential? Do you see that long-term vision? It's so important, especially when you are your own business. You are an entrepreneur and you own your own business. You have to see the long-term vision, because you have to recognize that it's not going to be that short-term quick success, quick get rich or anything like that. You really have to see the long-term vision and see the gain and see the possibilities, and realizing that no matter what, you're going to make it happen. When I started this business, I had no doubt in my mind on day 1, day 2, day 3 that I was going to be successful in this business. I didn't know how, but I knew that it would work out. And I knew that at the very least, I would figure it out, and I would figure out how I was going to make it work. And then losers, they say it may be possible, but it's too difficult. They see more the pain than the gain. They see all the problems and they let it happen to them. You know, when people come to me with issues and just kind of problems that they're having with corporate or anything, or problems that they're having with customer service, I don't really pay it any mind. Not that I don't care, but it's just, I'm just like, there's nothing I can do about it. We have to make sure we are the face of the company. You know, there's nothing that we can do about this. Let's keep it moving. Let's just keep, you know, let's see the potential. This is a brand new company that is growing at an exponential speed. You know, imagine if you had that type of growth. I'm sure you're going to have some mishaps, and I'm sure you're going to have some obstacles. And so, you know, being patient with the company and understanding. And so the winners in life think constantly in terms of I can, I will, and I am. And losers, on the other hand, concentrate their waking thoughts on what they should have done, what they would have done, and what they can't do. So you ask yourself, do you tell yourself, I can't do this? Or, you know, I should have done that. Or I should do this. You know, are you a should person and telling yourself all the things that you can't do? Or are you like, you know what? I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm going to make it happen. And you just, you have that fortitude, and you have that determination that no matter what, you're going to make it happen. And so being successful in our business, and this is something I'm actually, you know, I really feel, you know, very, very passionate about, because you know, I hear this all the time, and Luke and I'm sure many of the other leaders who mentor other coaches on this team, when people talk about, you know, they don't know what to post about, they don't know what to talk about, they don't know what to write about. Being successful in our business, in network marketing, in Beachbody, we are not just DVDs and powders. We are not just the supplements. We are not just the challenge groups. We are real and honest people with real lives. We are not a highlight reel. That's something I need you to understand. Our social media is not meant to be simply a highlight reel. And I say that because a lot of people are very afraid to share the obstacles of their life, their stresses of their life, you know, really the real kind of truths of their life. And I need you to understand that that is what makes you, you know, that's what makes you relatable. That is what makes you, you know, people want to work with you. That's what makes people know that you are honest and that you are someone that can be trustworthy. And so understanding that as coaches, we really sell our lifestyle. We sell who we stand for, what we stand for. And, you know, one of our vital behaviors being inviting, you really have to understand that, you know, in that process, you know, portraying someone relatable through your posting is part of the inviting process. And so making sure that in your posting, you're really showing you, because at the end of the day, people can go anywhere and buy our products. They can go, you know, they can go on QVC and buy our products, and go to Amazon. They can go to all, and they come to us for us. But if they don't know who you are, then they're not going to come to you. And if they don't know who you are, then when you message them, they're not going to know who you are. You know, you're just going to be another person who's trying to sell them something else. But if you show through your consistency, through you posting on your social media, your life, that's going to make you more relatable and more trustworthy. And so, and when it comes to coaching, one thing I want to, you know, especially because a lot of people will talk about all the stresses and all the obstacles and all the things that happen in their life. And that's what's stopping them from coaching. And so one thing I want to challenge you is to stop being so caught up in yourself. You know, realize that as coaches, we add value to the lives of others. We inspire and pour into others. We help others see the best in themselves. And that has nothing to do with your ability to work out, your ability to drink Shakeology, your ability to do, you know, it has nothing to do with you, and has everything to do with them. And so I really want you guys to challenge yourself and ask yourself, have you really been only thinking about yourself and not really thinking about what you can do to help someone else? Because even if you're down, or even if you're hurt or injured, or you can't work out, that shouldn't stop you from loving on someone else. It shouldn't stop you from helping someone else. It shouldn't stop you. If anything, honestly, I find a lot of fulfillment in helping others. When I'm feeling down, like this past week, I'll share this past week, I was feeling very down. My mindset was not in the right place. And I found a lot of fulfillment talking to the few coaches that I did. And it made me recognize not only do I mentor them and they need me, I need them just as much. And it's because I really, truly do enjoy mentoring and helping other people become more successful and seeing the best version of themselves. And that brings me a lot of fulfillment. And so just recognizing that even if you can't do certain things, you still can do so much to help someone else. And so what I want you to think about is that successful coaches, they have doubts, they have fears, they have deaths in their lives, they have injuries, they have obstacles, they have children, they have unsupportive spouses, they get hundreds of no's, they have all these other responsibilities just like you. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, as they say, and we all have, successful coaches do not have just an easier life than you. They don't. And if you think that, you're setting yourself up, with the wrong mindset. It's just that even amongst all of these things that they have going on, they still get their work done. They still stay according to their priorities, and they still find things that, they still help others. And so what do they do, in terms of successful coaches who have all of these problems and all of these issues and all of these obstacles, like every one of us? They still share their lives and are honest motivators. And so that is honestly what is the gist of what I want you to take from this call, is that you need to share yourself more. You need to, we are not just the Shakeology. We're not just the DVD programs. If you want this to turn into a six-figure business, something where you can truly bring financial freedom into your family's lives, you need to get over yourself, and you need to start sharing more of yourself and sharing the vulnerable side of you, because that's what's going to make you more relatable. And so I'm going to take you through a couple different posts of just giving you ideas so that you can see that, it's just really sharing. So here's Mandy. Mandy's a coach on our team. And she, the other day, she also was having some trouble, some mindset issues, not feeling down, feeling like she doesn't want to work out. And then she's on her way and she gets into an accident, and she shares about it. She talks about it. She talks about how, I'm having a crappy day. I still found time to work out. She's over here showing that she has scoliosis. She has all these things going on. And then she got into an accident. But then at the end, she talks about how she is grateful, for the fact that, nothing bad happened, that no one got really hurt. She hugged the man that she hit. And it was just, it was a really nice post. And she's sharing, her life. She's sharing unexpected events, things that happen, because who has not gotten into an accident? Many people get into accidents, and it's just showing, and many people, just having them, she's able to, I guess I should say, she's able to see the good in it, and she's able to take away something good from it. Here's Josh Spencer. Josh Spencer is poor Josh Spencer. You guys, some of you may not know him, but he is someone who at Summit, at one of our events, a broad event, a Success Club event in Mexico, he ate something really bad, and he's had all these health problems since then. And as a result, he has not been able to work out. He's been feeling really unwell, headaches galore, all these other injuries. And for those who don't know Josh Spencer, this is a multimillionaire coach. And so he is someone who has a very successful business. But this is on his page, and he's updating his followers, talking about Parasite Update. It's been a month since I've updated you on my current health conditions. Man, I don't know what's going on. But you see, he's sharing what's going on in his life. One thing I will say is that I follow a lot of successful coaches, and I know what's going on in their life. I have a good idea of what's going on in their life because they share it. And so I want you to kind of really think about, especially my newer coaches, how much are you sharing, and really sharing your life so that other people can truly get to know you. Here's Carolina. Carolina, and shout out to Carolina. Carolina, she's someone, she has a lot going on. Her mom is battling cancer, And, I love this post. Here she is talking about, being with her mom, going through chemotherapy with her mom. I was even telling you, look, you can even see the back office on her computer. Like that's a great photo of like multitasking. But I want to, she's sharing family illnesses. She's sharing fears, uncertainty, sorrow. She has a lot of concerns on her mind, and she's sharing that. And so, showing that, she's relatable. Who doesn't go through something like this? Who doesn't go through a family member being sick, or a family member coming down with a really bad disease or an ailment? Be real in your posting. Let people know that you're not just these super positive people, because that's not real life. And stop trying to be that. Jace, for some of you who don't know Jace is another awesome coach. She's not on our team, but this girl is a rock star in terms of how she portrays her life. I think she really takes the time to really share her life. And so this is another one. She was sharing illness, that left her in pain, unable to exercise. She had ovarian cysts and all this chronic pelvic pain, offering hope to other people who are maybe in similar shoes. And again, sharing, and this is all part of her daily, her posting. And I'm just trying to give you guys ideas of things that you can post about. There's a couple of her posts. Here's one when her baby was born. Again, like I said, I know I was like, when I was thinking about this PowerPoint, I was like, oh, I got to talk about Jace. She's someone that sharing their fears and asking for prayer. She had a baby that was born premature and they had to have emergent surgery, and sharing these things. And making sure. There's another coach that, she was sharing when her child was in the hospital with seizures and all these things. And again, some of you may not think of sharing that, but that really does make you more relatable, and it shows who you are. It shows that you're a mom that cares, that you have, that you have fears and worries like everyone else. Sharing, this is Jace again, sharing everyday life of being a busy mom, still making time to work out. Here she is sitting in a dirty laundry, and she's just talking about, this would be laundry needing folding, but I needed to get my workout in. So that's one way of, talking about being a busy mom, and still talking about getting your workout in without having to show you working out. It's just other added ways of showing how Beachbody is a part of your life and how coaching is a part of your life. And just sharing everyday life to be relatable. Like this is a picture of her son, and she's just saying, if you read the post, it's basically saying, I've been, he's been crying since 11:30 last night. I've been up with this child. What mom cannot relate to that? What new mom cannot relate to being up with their kids, even or a sick child or someone who's crying? So really, she's just kind of being that relatable person. Sophie, a lot of you know Sophie, you should know Sophie, and you know that she is very beautiful with her words, and she shares so much of herself. And so sharing deep wounds and pain, she's very open about her depression and her battle with depression in the past. And her current, sometimes she still, goes back into depressions at times or gets some of those feelings, and she's very open with it. And she shares that because she sees value in sharing and knowing that there are other people who maybe can relate to her story, and maybe other people that she can help, who have been where she was. This is Andrea Crowder. Andrea Crowder just recently shared about her grandfather's death. And so I thought this was a really nice post. She says, sitting here at the airport, and I'm about to pull out my laptop to work. And she's like, and I feel bad because here I am working. My grandfather just died. And she's like, but I find a lot of comfort in working. I find that's my escape. That's how I feel good, fulfill, helping other people. So here she is talking about death, talking about Beachbody, finding different ways. And so just showing you, again, different ways of sharing what's happening in your life. It doesn't just have to be, here's my Shakeology cup with a peace sign. It doesn't have to just be, it doesn't just have to be, the Shakeology cup or you working out or, it doesn't have to be that basically. And then sharing pregnancy updates. I say this all the time when I have a new mom who's going to be pregnant. I'm like, listen, this is like such a huge market. Like, sometimes I'm like, I would be pregnant just for the market. Like, there's so much to talk about. Right. And so Luke's like, what? I don't want to hear that. But sharing pregnancy updates and taking your followers with you on that journey, and sharing all the fun and not so fun things that come with pregnancy. This is is it Allison? I think it's Allison. She's she's an awesome coach. She's on another team. She's someone that, and I know her story. How do I know her story? Because I know it through her social media, but she suffered with, she couldn't have children. She had to go through IVF, and now she's pregnant with twins. And so, just taking her followers through that journey, again, sharing, and she's also someone who was on the 21 Day Fix infomercial, which shout out to Sophie this week. She is shooting for the 21 Day Fix updated infomercial. So again, this is my plug to send in your before and afters. It doesn't matter. You never know if you're going to get chosen, and you will win money. So send in, Jessica, you need to send in your photos if you haven't. And I don't know if she can see me, but sharing pregnancy updates. And then here she is now, just 2 days ago. She's 9 months pregnant, and and again, sharing her journey and taking her followers with her. I mean, she looks great. She's all belly. And that's twins. And so she's sharing her, and all throughout she's a very religious coach as well. So she posts, and that's another thing to talk about. If you have, your faith, Christianity, whatever your faith is, just talking about that is another thing that a lot of coaches talk about. So don't think it just has to, kind of be, again, the fitness and the shake. And then sharing current and prior addictions. This is Alita Steele, actually. She made a post just talking about quitting smoking and just asking people, have you quit smoking? And so really sharing your current and prior addictions that you have. And addictions come in all shapes and forms. And so really, did you overcome them? Are you still working through them? And one thing that she did here was, drop your quit date, below, and pat yourself on the back, getting engagement from her followers and asking for engagement, through her posts and sharing. And here's, sharing how coaching is adding more to your life. Here she is with her mohawk over here talking, just sharing how now she's talking about, being able to be at home and being able to be with her daughter at, I think she's volunteering at her daughter's her daughter's school. But just, again, talking about how Beachbody, how this business and this opportunity is adding to your life. Because at the end of the day, if you're looking for business builders, and I've talked to a lot of coaches about this, if you're looking for business builders are going to be more attracted to the lifestyle than just the fitness. They're going to be attracted to the freedom. They're going to be attracted to the flexibility. They're going to be attracted to the ability to have their own schedule, to be able to do whatever they want with their children whenever they want, because they have that flexibility. So if you're not talking about that, they're not going to know that. And even if you're a brand new coach, you can still highlight that. You can still talk about your excitement. You can still talk about all the little small successes really do matter, especially when you're early on in your career. And sharing about your children, being a mom. This is Alita again, just sharing, just the little gentleness with her children. Again, because I know a lot of you are moms, and just sharing more about your family life and being that relatable person. And then being real. I like this picture of her. She is just talking about how she just has not showered. She has just been, taking care of the family and doing her business. And she's just being real. Don't be afraid to be real, to be funny, to be poke fun at yourself. Don't be afraid to do any of those things, because, and one thing I want to kind of mention in talking through all of this, some of you you may be new coaches, and you're just like, I would have never thought of any of these things, which is fine. I was there, and I've been there, and I'm still there. And again, this is why I follow a very select few people. I look at other successful accounts. I look at other accounts that I want to emulate, whether it be Beachbody or not Beachbody, lifestyle accounts that I'm like, wow, I would love to have that life, or there's something about this account that I like. And I look at their photos and I study them like I'm studying something for school, because at the end of the day, these ideas don't always come to me as either. But if I'm not, I try to look for ideas, look for inspiration, and then try to emulate that in my own life, in my own words. So definitely, keeping that in mind as you're kind of going through and starting this and continuing. Here's my recent post from the other day. talking about how I haven't had any motivation, some days feeling down. And I know, a lot of people really struggle with wanting to come off as negative. Don't think you're going to come off as negative. Just be honest with your followers, because I have a lot of people who will come up to me and they'll say, you're very honest. I appreciate that you're very trustworthy. That's what shows when you are real in your post. Here's Amy. Even she was talking about, just being down the other day, and just talking about how she's, embraced the journey, and how even though she was down yesterday, she woke up feeling better. So again, not being afraid to share how you're feeling, day to day. Catherine, one thing I wanted to talk about was how you share your workouts. It's great to share your workouts, and I want you to share your workouts. Make sure you're showing you. Make sure you're showing, that the more that you show you, your smile, your energy, you in motion is going to be better than just showing like the DVD. Or please don't ever use any stock images. Don't ever use any stock images of the 21 Day Fix or Shakeology or Beachbody On Demand. Never any stock images. Use you. And one thing, especially for new coaches, and we'll have to have some training on this, but just make sure that you have good lighting. Good lighting is so important. Stand in front of a window or something, just have really good lighting. If you're in a place that doesn't have good lighting, go outside, step outside and take your photo, but just have good natural lighting. And another thing is, a lot of people will ask about inviting. You'll see she talked about her Insanity workout. And at the bottom right here, she says, email me if you'd like to get started on your fitness, and she provides her email address. And I would also add that I would just say, message me on Facebook as well. And honestly, a lot of times, this is how this is how I have grown my business. And so, I do a lot. I'm very aggressive with my adding this little message in here, talking about email me or message me in my daily post, as opposed to going and messaging people. But for people who wonder how I do it, that's a lot of what I do. Same thing with here's one of Ashley. And Ashley is, just having fun. And again, here, this is an invite to a challenge group, and she's sharing her dog. It looks really cute, Fall Into Fitness. And it's, it's outside with the leaves, but it's not of a program, and it's not of, a Shakeology cup, and it's not but it's her outside having fun, looking happy. And so these are all, sharing you. And these are all great examples. And then this was one I thought was really good of Elise, who's not on our team, but I really follow her, and she's a great inspiration to me. But here she is talking about her loose skin. I mean, this girl has lost 100 pounds, and she is showing her loose skin. She is being honest. And that takes a lot of courage, and a lot of people love her. They love her for it. She has a great, she's a very successful coach within this business. And same thing with Alita. A lot of successful coaches have made a post like this, showing their loose skin and showing, that they're, they're still feeling beautiful, and they're still rocking it, and they're still, feeling really confident with the way that they look. But again, this is simply to be more relatable. And then again, this is another thing that she said, just more so sharing her life. Here was her son. She was worried about him having Down syndrome. And so she's just sharing her fears in that and so think about, a new mom who's really concerned. So anything that's going in your life, going on in your life, don't be afraid to share it. That is kind of my kind of lesson, what I really wanted you guys to take away from this, because I just know, and Luke's going to talk a little bit about it too, in terms, no, but Luke's going to talk for the last couple of minutes. But just kind of really, because a lot of coaches will say they don't know what to talk about, and they don't know how to post, or they don't. And it's because I think you're just thinking of the fitness, and you have to really start thinking of your life, and don't think that your life is boring. You have something to offer. You have something to be, that you're relatable to someone else. So really take the time to do your research with other coaches, other successful accounts. Doesn't even have to be in Beachbody, and really make that effort to start getting that inspiration so that you can be more relatable, through your posting. Luke?
You said everything I wanted to
there's a lot of people.
That is scary.
No.
Hey, I'm here. Anyway, so what I'm just going to quickly talk about for the last couple of minutes of this call is some very practical tips that everyone can use, because for this last quarter, Stephanie and I, we've been like going back to the basics with everybody else. And I've been doing a lot of one-on-one coaching with a lot of the coaches on this team. And I realized a particular pattern or similar mistakes that everybody is doing. And so hopefully that will be able to help out some people. So as I've been listening to the National Wake Up Call for like the past couple of weeks, one thing that I've realized, as Stephanie mentioned, the difference between the winner and the losers. A lot of the coaches that are very successful in this business is because they are organized. They have some kind of a system that allows them to work effectively and efficiently. And that's something that a lot of the coaches, whenever they say, oh, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to post, is because they do not have a system for some odd reason. And once you're able to figure a system that works out for you, for your personality, for your schedule, or for your family, or whatever you have going on in life, you will realize that you will be able to accomplish a whole lot in a very small amount of times, which will give you even more time to, to cater to other things. One of the tools that, for example, very successful coach uses is that they use a calendar. And we've done a lot of calendars before, and we post it for everyone to use. And I don't know if many people use it, but it's there for you. The calendar allows you to figure out how you can actually divide your month into weeks. And within the week, you know exactly what you got to post. Because in the calendar, you not only have access to events, but promotions and training and whatnot. So you know exactly what to talk about. So a lot of times when coaches said, I don't know what to write about, or I don't know what to post or what to promote, I'd scratch the back of my head and wonder, okay, do you use a calendar at all? And usually I can answer that question because I know that they do not. Another places where you can find information or be able to be resourceful is the team website. Now, how many people know, by show of hand, that we have a website on this team when you can train? Not a lot of hands. I'm not surprised. Okay. All right. So on a team website, we have lessons, we have videos of our calls, we have trainings, we have books on personal development. All of that resources is there for you. Please use it, because Stephanie spent hours working on it. She even cried over it. So please use that website. We also have a team page, and that's also the part that is actually surprising. We like to refer to websites or tools and apps, but a lot of times, look at all these, all the people on this call. We are resources to each other as well. Mm-hmm. Feel free to ask questions. The reason why we are resources to one another is because all of us have a story that might not be able to, no, let me say that differently. If you think that you can do all of it by yourself, you're actually wrong about it. Your story might not relate to someone else. For example, I'm a guy, as you can definitely see. My story will not relate to a mom or any woman out there. But I have on this team a lot of stories, a lot of women that I can use to be able to help someone who's out there. That I can do. So don't be afraid to use us as your resource, whether it would be some kind of a before and after or a non-scale victory, whatever have you. Don't be scared to ask for questions or ask for tips or ask for help if you need it. That's what we're here for. As Stephanie mentioned, that if we do this together, we're going to be able to succeed and even grow bigger than what we actually expected. Okay? And organization is very important. A lot of times, because one thing that I'm realizing with people that cannot know how to post is that they post on the fly. They post on the same day. And a lot of times whenever you post, it requires some thoughts behind it. And the reason why posting on the fly doesn't work all the time is because you're not guaranteed to be inspired the same way every day. There are days when I'm on fire. I'm ready to just change the whole world in 5 seconds. And then the following day, though I'm in a good mood, I may have nothing to say. I'm sure Stephanie liked that because she would want me to shut up all the time. But you understand what I'm saying? There are days, no matter what kind of personal development you do, you're not guaranteed to be on fire every day. So when you're not on fire, what does that mean? You don't post? You don't inspire no one? You can't really do that. But when you're organized and you can plan things ahead of time, even on days when you don't feel like it, you still have something to fall back on. And a lot of time when you want to inspire, it's not because you are inspired, it's because you want to say something that will inspire someone else. Remember, when you post, it's not about something that satisfies you. It's about what will satisfy the other person or someone that needs to hear that message. So something very practical, when you follow someone on Facebook or on Instagram, there are certain things that attract you to the accounts that you follow. So as Stephanie mentioned, try to see what it is about that person that you like, why you following that person, whether it will be the words, the image, whatever have you, and either use that same content or try to recreate it using yourself.
And I would say, I would definitely challenge you to recreate it yourself. Use other people's accounts for inspiration. Don't just copy, directly copy what another coach is saying, unless, because obviously, especially like there's a lot of coaches out there and they copy a lot. And we talk about this in the diamond and above groups. But one thing I want to kind of stress, and one thing that I was listening to in my personal development recently, is that it takes time for you to develop your voice. And I want you guys to feel reassured by that. It actually takes someone, especially someone like a blogger or someone who is very active on social media, it takes them on average 6 months to a full year of writing consistently to develop their voice. And that's through practice and practice and practice. And so for all of you that are, a lot of people struggle with wanting to get things perfect or wanting to come out with the right things, realizing that you cannot wait until things are perfect. And I've talked about this with a lot of coaches, because what happens when you spend all that time, all that effort, all that energy planning to try to make it perfect, and then you execute it and then it was all wrong. And you spent all that time planning, when if you would have just done something, you would have gotten immediate feedback that, whoa, this isn't working. And you would have adjusted. It would have been a failure, but you would have adjusted, and you would be a lot better. It would be a lot better usage of your time and a lot better usage of your energy, and you're learning in that process. So get some comfort knowing that it's going to take time for you to develop and I'm sure like Catherine, Amy, how you speak now is very different, than how you spoke when you first started coaching. It's you as you guys have developed yourselves, even Ashley Gabbert, like as you guys have developed yourself, your posting is different. As you have grown, your posting is different. And so, the words that you use, and so just for my newer coaches and coaches that are not as consistent and really want to try to be consistent, really realizing that it takes time and effort and practice to really develop that voice.
You only get better by doing. So a lot of people like to do research, is find pictures, find things that they like, but then they don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really benefit you in any sense of the word whatsoever. So you only get better, and you only get more wisdom and knowledge and understanding of who you are and what you're doing and your message by doing. And I think this is a fear that a lot of you have. Don't try to be perfect. Just try it. That's why that exercise with a video, that's what it's really all about. Just showcase your voice, your personality, and who you are. And the more you practice, the better you become. And the more confident you become, there will be no way to shut you up. You just want to talk all the time, because you will figure out who you are and how to actually spread your message. And that's our goal. That's our mission right here. That's all we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's it. Short and sweet.
Any questions, concerns, comments, and especially complaints. Yeah, I know. Especially coaches because we've all been there. Like at the end of the day, all the things that a lot of new coaches struggle, there's at least a leader in here, or even someone who's been in this business a little longer than you. They've experienced everything that you've experienced. So definitely, especially if you're someone who, I know there's a lot of coaches in here who will say, it takes me so long to make a post. It takes me so long to like make it look pretty and make it look, or even come up with the words. And so you're that type, if you're that coach and that resonates with you, you really do have to think about planning what you want to post, and you cannot post on the whim. And it's about really just sitting down, looking at your calendar and saying, okay, these are the types of posts I want to post every single day. One may be an inspirational quote. One may be about my family. One may be about my faith. One may be about Beachbody. And you really want to plan that out and then kind of do that homework in advance. It'll make your life a lot easier, especially, just kind of having that idea in mind and having that, what you want to post already in mind for the week. And there are coaches who do that. There are other coaches who do that. Yemi, hold on. Go ahead, Yemi.
Hey guys.
Hey.
So my question is, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't see you. Oh, you're over here. Okay.
So you use Sendable, I think, to send out a lot of your posts. And Hootsuite is okay. But I was wondering if you're aware of any apps like that, like Sendable or Hootsuite, where you can schedule your posts and it's free.
I think, is Buffer free, girl? Who uses Buffer? Is Buffer free? I need someone who's used Buffer, because I've never used Buffer.
When I used it, it was free, but I haven't used it in like probably a year. I used it when I was in school, because now I have a lot more time to post, but it was free at the time, so hopefully.
Okay.
You may have to do more research and just get back to
Tamara says it is, but it's limited with the number of posts. Some of them, they're limited with the posts, or they're limited with the number of groups that you can do.
Right.
Are you trying to schedule your posts for just one group, or like for your personal page, or?
For all sorts, for, my challenge groups, my personal page.
Got you.
And then, so Hootsuite doesn't allow you to schedule for, your challenge groups. So there's one that I also found that is free, but then you're limited to 10 posts a day with that particular one. And it's web-based, where I really like the Sendable because there is an app associated, but it's a little pricey.
Yeah, Sendable is $10 a month.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't find that plan. I only saw the only thing they presented me with was $60 a month, and I was like, yeah, I'm not quite on that level yet.
No. There's a $9.99 plan.
Perfect.
There's a
We're trying to get your money for the holidays.
Yeah, there's a $9.99 plan, and we use Sendable for our challenge groups.
Yes.
And then if you have a business, if you have a Facebook business page, that you can post through Facebook. But that's the only platform that will allow you to schedule posts is through the business page. But the other ones, you need a third-party app.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. You have a nice voice, very nice, soothing voice. Any other questions, concerns? No? Kind of just wave your hand. If not, nope, I see lots of coaches. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end the call now. Thank you so much for coming on. We still have someone has a question. Let's see. Where is, is it, are you typing it, Kari? Let's see. Hold on. Don't know why, but even if my results started to show up and people ask me, I started telling them what I'm doing and how I'm doing. They're so cheap or just not ready for this challenge. I'm trying to reach out to them, but they're just careless about their health. How do you reach out to those people? My dear, you just present our products to those people, and if they are ready, then they are ready. If they're not, then you keep it moving and you keep going. People will pay for what they find value in. And at this time, those people that you're speaking with do not find the value in their health and in buying something. So I would not take it personally. It has nothing, I guarantee you, if I went to them and spoke to them, they would tell me no. And they would tell me they have no money. So it has nothing to do with you, and it has everything to do with them. And so I would tell you, Kari, to keep looking for more people. What you've done now is you've planted a nice little seed that will hopefully harvest in the future as you keep staying consistent with your posting and you keep showing awesome results with your own physical fitness as well as the fitness of others. Then they will, they'll know in the future, and they may be potential customers in the future. Let's see. Anyone else has I'm just trying to read these comments. I didn't even know there was comments. Awesome. Wait, what did she say? I know, but they still asking, also admiring the results. But when I start with them, I feel like they're wasting my time. Yeah. I would just tell you, at the end of the day, all you can do is present to them the opportunity and just keep speaking to new people every single day and keep trying to find new prospects. And you can always follow up with those people in the future. Just say, hey, how are you doing? But I wouldn't really spend too much time on them. Tony?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh my God, please excuse my beat down self. But I was watching something Luke posted today in level 2.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get to Emerald group about 2 different videos from 2 different coaches, different tips for new people. And they were some of them were just really great tips, just reminders. One of the things one of the coaches was saying is that she does use the free challenge groups as part of, something that really works for her. And I noticed that a lot of the new coaches have done well to have a free challenge group. And I know that's not something that's on the calendar, but because we have a lot of new coaches going in, I was wondering if that's something that we could talk about or consider maybe orchestrating for people so that they have, kind of a plan for doing something like that, if that's what you would recommend for something.
So are you referring to the free 5-day clean eating or just a free group?
The 5-day clean eating group.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can definitely, give people, prompt people of when they should potentially promote it. Like, I know for me, like, ideally in my head, a perfect time would be a clean eating right after Thanksgiving. Would be
Right.
Right after Thanksgiving would be a prime time to promote that on Black Friday and just say, hey, if you ate a lot of turkey yesterday and you're feeling really bloated and your mouth is super dry because of all that sugar, as those are all the symptoms of high sugar, high carbohydrate, and you're like sleeping and you can barely move, join our group. We're gonna be moving and grooving and getting ready for the holidays. That's what we would say.
I know. I'm gonna be getting married like real soon, and I just thought, if to plant the seed of the calendar, since we're talking about calendars, I just wanted to put that out there. One of the reasons I could hit the ground running as a new coach is because I did so many challenges for clean eating and things like that as part of my journey. Right. And I'm not at that point right now, but it's good to plant that seed, know where you want it, so that people can launch it and get those posts planned and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, and I think, I don't think we put that in the calendar. So we can definitely remind people. And that's something too for God, I know Tony has her own calendar. She literally will transcribe her own calendar. So she has her own way, she has it written down. I really want to encourage all of you to have your own calendar as well. Like actually get a physical, a monthly one, just so that you can have all the dates and you can, keep yourself organized. So that you're not relying on our reminders, as you shouldn't be relying on our reminders, but that we've prompted you, we've given you all the dates, and then the onus is on you to remember these things. So awesome. Anything else? Any other questions?